Today we are making low-carb coconut key lime pie.
And 1 and 2 and 2 and 1.
The ingredients you'll need for the pie crust are almond flour, coconut oil, coconut flour, sea salt, and an egg. The ingredients you'll need for the filling are coconut cream, stevia extract, coconut flour, key lime juice, and limes. Growing up, my grandparents lived in Marco Island, Florida, and I loved key lime pie. It was as fresh as it could be there, and it just became a staple. Every restaurant you went to, they had it, and I fell in love with it as a kid. So now that I don't eat like that anymore, I miss key lime pie. Surprise, surprise. Kind of like I miss peanut butter cups, so I had to make a recipe for that. But now that I've developed a key lime pie recipe, I'd like to share it with all of you because it is sublime. For this recipe, we're going to start with the crust. I'm making mine in my food processor just because it makes everything a little bit more easy and it makes it come together a lot quicker. If you have to do it by hand, that's okay. Just make sure everything's really, really well incorporated. We're gonna start with 2 cups of almond flour. If you like your crust a little bit sweeter, you can use cashew flour here and it's really great. To that, I'm going to add 1 tablespoon of coconut flour, half a teaspoon of salt. I usually just kind of eyeball it. 2 tablespoons of coconut oil. This is gonna make our crust really flaky. This crust recipe really excites me because you can use it for a bunch of different pies. It can be savory or sweet, and it is really, really versatile. And the last ingredient you need is 1 egg. We're just gonna pop the top on our food processor and turn it on and let it run until your dough becomes a ball. We're going to lay our crust into our pie pan. You take your dough and just press it into your pie plate. You can keep it just on the bottom or you can work it up the sides, whatever you like. I work it up the sides. I like a thinner crust, but I like it all around. Ladies, you might want to take your rings off for this one. Once your crust is all pressed in, it'll look like that. It's really, really sticky. It's just like a normal crust that you work with. It's almost easier actually, because when you work with normal pie crust, typically you have to roll it out and it's a pain in the butt and it gets stuck everywhere and you have to put flour everywhere. This is really simple and much, much healthier. My oven's preheated at 350, so I'm gonna toss this guy in for 15 minutes and check on it in 10. Now we get to start on the best part, the filling. If you've seen my coconut fluff recipe, you know that I am a huge fan of this stuff. This is coconut cream from Trader Joe's. It's basically just a very, very thick coconut milk. It is fantastic in recipes. It holds up great to anything that you put in it. It doesn't have a ton of flavor. It tastes a little bit like coconut, but my coconut fluff is chocolate and it tastes like chocolate. This is key lime. It tastes like key lime. This stuff is so versatile. If you cannot find coconut cream in a can, you can use full-fat coconut milk. Just be sure to drain off the water that will be on top of the can. So you need 2 cans of your coconut cream or full-fat coconut milk. And then we need 2 tablespoons of coconut flour. This is going to help the pie have a thicker texture. If you've ever had key lime pie, you realize it's kind of like gelatin, and that's because it's baked and it has eggs and sugar and everything. This one does not. So the coconut flour helps it to come together. Then you need 1 full teaspoon of stevia extract. And we're going to zest 2 limes right into our bowl. Make sure you guys are using organic limes with this. When you're using the zest, you really want to make sure it's organic because that's where all the pesticides are on your fruit. And then I'm just using a Microplane grater. Only zest the colored part of your lime. Once you zest part of the green, you want to move on to another part or else it'll be very, very bitter. Sometimes I just don't get the zest of puns. Finally, you need a ½ cup of key lime juice. Nellie and Joe's, if you've ever made a key lime pie before, you might have used it. It's the best. I'm soury. If you don't like really sour things, you might just want to taste it before you add a full ½ cup. Try adding a 1/3 cup first, tasting it, and then adding more if you think it needs it. Put your mixer on low, and then slowly turn it up to medium. Everything's pretty mixed in. Just go around the edges of your bowl. And then at this point, you can give a taste. See if it's too tart for you, see if it's not tart enough. This for me is perfect. I've made this recipe before, so I know how much lime juice I like. Then we're just gonna set that aside and wait for our crust to be done. My pie crust just came out of the oven and it smells awesome. It looks beautiful. I'm just gonna let that cool for about 20 minutes. If If you put your coconut cream mixture into your pie crust before it cools, it's going to melt and turn very, very liquidy. So I recommend letting your pie crust come to room temperature. Once your pie crust is cooled, you can go ahead and put your filling right on in. You can take your limes that we reserved earlier and put them on as a garnish. And you need to put it in the fridge for a couple hours to set up. Overnight is ideal, but if you need it in a few hours, it should be ready to go. All right, guys, there's the finished product. It's all set up and it looks beautiful. As always, all the products I used today will be linked down below, and the full recipe will be linked to my blog down below as well. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.